Well, we can't say we're entirely surprised. Melania's secret past may or may not have been exposed in this leaked audio from this, granted, unverified report. But the report got audio from a call in which a dude named Paolo Zampoli, who's the special envoy to global partnerships for Trump, apparently the claim is that Paolo made a deal with Trump to keep quiet about Melania's past, her past as a potential escort, and that may link to Epstein directly. Now, I want to tell you something about Paolo Zampoli. This dude ran a model agency called Model ID Management, or ID Model Management, and he moved in the same elite social circles as Epstein. This is verified. He's in documents, okay? The two reportedly had a failed 2004 business venture involving the potential purchase of elite model management. Zampoli's name appears multiple times in released Epstein court files, with reports noting that in one 2011 email, Epstein described Zampoli as trouble. Now, he has given testimony stating, before Congress, Melania Trump had nothing to do with this criminal. All right? Now, there is reason to believe that he said this for the sake of a deal that he made with the Trumps. Now, Zampoli, I think, he had an ex-partner named Amanda Ongoro, a Brazilian model. She was 17. She traveled on Epstein's private plane when that happened with agent Jean-Luc Brunel, who was also sourcing models for Epstein. In 2025, during a custody battle with Zampoli, Ongoro, his girlfriend, was arrested and deported. He basically had Trump get ICE on her. He contacted senior ICE officials while she was in custody, and he claimed this was for information, not influence. So this is a corrupt man. By all means, this is a corrupt man, okay? Now, this woman publicly threatened to expose the Trumps, creating a tense backdrop for Zampoli's ties to the first family. That's literally what happened. So this probably could explain why Melania Trump has been making all these public appearances saying she had nothing to do with Epstein. Jimmy Kimmel's words are so terrible he should be fired. She saw the writing on the wall. Now, this isn't the first time that Melania Trump has been linked to some escort shit, okay? There was a Vanity Fair article that suggested that Melania was a second or third tier model at the age of 26 who went on to date older men. A Daily Mail article actually did a whole investigation on her, but this was removed because the Zampoli dude basically gave testimony and they had a whole lawsuit against the Daily Mail, which they won. Then a Slovian magazine claimed that Melania's modeling agency, ran by Paulo, operated as a secret escort agency. So basically what we're dealing with here is this dude was the boss of Melania when she was a model, and he was Donald Trump's friend who knew Melania and her past, and they cut a deal. He cut a deal with Trump and Melania, basically keeping him from saying what he knows about her past. Now, the report got this phone call. I want to read to you what was on this phone call, okay? So, these statements by Amanda Ongoro have shaken the White House. Until now, however, there was no evidence of this pact. So this is the narrator talking here. But report has managed to uncover it. It all dates back to 2016 when the British tabloid Daily Mail published an investigative piece regarding Melania Trump's past, baselessly accusing her of having worked as an escort. Melania Trump secured the removal of this article along with a multi-million-dollar settlement. Zampoli on the phone. And again, this is still unverified, but Zampoli on the phone said, I wrote the document for the president and the first lady, and they used it for their speech. We just won a massive lawsuit against the Daily Mail, a truly massive lawsuit. I cannot discuss it because I am bound by a non-disclosure agreement, and yet I have yet to cash the check. We won last week. I am in this country thanks to President Trump. He gave me a job. I started out in real estate. I built myself a beautiful home. I would never betray a friend. What does he mean by that? In this phone call, which we have obtained and which took place in 2017, Zampoli, speaking with a contact linked to the United Nations, reveals that Melania Trump allegedly guaranteed him protection in exchange for his assistance in dispelling potential shadows surrounding her past. This is the audio recording that everyone has been searching for. A report can now reveal it exclusively. So Zampoli on the phone said, Donald Trump knows. He trusts in his friend Paolo, me, which he considers to be family, and his wife is not a prostitute. Maybe she doesn't have the most fluent American accent. Maybe she poses naked as many models. But she is a good girl, okay? You don't want nobody calling your fucking wife a prostitute when she is the mother of your kid. Melania told me Paulo, don't worry about it. You have our back. Everything that happened, you protect. Okay? Then 2 weeks later, they won the election, and that's it. Very interesting stuff. So, what does this all mean? Well, she may or may not have worked as an escort for some senior people, and she has a checkered past when it comes to Epstein. She was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, she had multiple emails with Ghislaine Maxwell, which indicated that they were closer than Melania would have you believe. Okay, Epstein has modeling agencies. He used Jean-Luc Brunel for these modeling agencies that were also tied to Melania's. And there have been multiple emails with people who were talking to Epstein that suggest that Melania met Trump through Epstein. In fact, Trump was doing things with her on a plane, maybe on one of his planes. Guys, on a broader level, this means that the First Lady, who released a propaganda film, a documentary about herself like a couple months ago, which people, that entire side, all these weirdos that support Trump are saying, oh, this is one of the most successful documentaries ever. That's not true at all, by the way. I think it was a box office bomb, if anything. One of the most successful films. It's such a great movie, beautiful movie. It just happens to be the case that this film that probably highlighted all the gracious, good, positive parts about her happened to leave out the fact that she was connected to Epstein. I can understand that. Listen, is the Michael Jackson biopic going to talk about his essay allegations? Probably not. Although they have a sequel that apparently they are going to talk about it. So, who knows? Who knows? We can't expect a documentary funded by that administration with a guy who supports that administration to bring up these negative things. But what this all means is this pretty face that is brought here to shove propaganda in your face for this administration. Melania Trump. The First Lady that everyone glazes, Caroline Leavitt, said, oh, she's the best dressed First Lady in history. This woman, she's tainted by the Epstein stuff, man. She, not only was her husband one of Epstein's friends, best buddies, but she was one of his girls? And you wonder why the Epstein files aren't being released, why there aren't any arrests? For the people who still wonder why there aren't any arrests, who the fuck is in the White House? People who are tied to Epstein, every single one. Their freaking tech unit, their tech advisory board has Mark Zuckerberg and another dude who've been tied to Epstein. He was in a picture with Epstein at dinner with Elon Musk. Elon Musk was tied to Epstein, wanted to go on his island. One of Trump's secretaries was on the island with him. This dude started a business with Epstein. Melania was maybe one of Epstein's escorts, perhaps, or one of his girls who met Trump through him. Donald Trump was a friend of Epstein, did things with him. How are we surprised at this point, y'all? How are we surprised? Oh, my God. It just gets worse and worse, y'all. It just gets worse and worse. Bye.